So let us start the class. It is lecture number 1.8. Other than that, we have another lecture in module 0. So this is lecture number 1.8. Today is 15th September 2020. The rest of the information is repetitive. So as I have already mentioned n number of times that all videos may be recorded, and as you can understand, I am recording the videos and uploading them in the YouTube channel. Once again, there is a request, please subscribe to the channel so that I do not need to inform you all the time. So today we are going to address two points. Why grinding speed is so high as compared to cutting speed? Why grinding specific energy is so high as compared to cutting specific energy? That is what we are going to do. And for doing that, we need to understand grinding a bit. So this is my center of the grinding wheel, which is rotating in this particular direction with NS. And this is an abrasive grit. This is an abrasive grit. This abrasive grit is bonded. This abrasive grit is bonded to the wheel. And in the last class, yesterday's class, I have said there are different kinds of bonding. Out of them, vitrified bonding and resinoid bonding, these are good. Other than this, metal bonding is there and single layer bonding is also there. Vitrified bonding is a kind of ceramic bonding and resinoid bonding is a kind of resinoid bonding. To give you a commercial example, arrowlite that we use when we break something to mend it, that is a kind of resinoid bond. So they are not metal bond as per se. So most popular one is a ceramic bond or a resinoid bond. So this information is required to take it forward. During grinding, the tip of this grinding wheel, that is the tip of the grit, would move in this particular direction with a speed of ns, and workpiece would be there, which has not been shown here. That workpiece would be moving in this direction with work speed of Vw. That graphics will come soon. So this is another graphics which is very, very important. The red one is the current location. What is this blue one? This is a location which we will arrive at. After how much time? After the grit. I need to use a different color, maybe I'll use red. After the grit moves from this location to this particular location. As this grit is moving in this direction, the workpiece is also moving in this direction with the speed of Vw. Thus, this red one is not the path taken by the grit. The kinematic path of the grit is this one. So if Vw is 0, this is the path of the grit. As Vw is not 0, this is the path of the grit. So what is this location? This location is when the grit moves from A to C. So that is the location. Let me once again go back. Someone is trying to enter. So when it is moving from A to B. Now how much is this distance? This distance of A to B is assumed to be equivalent to A to C. They are very near to each other, and that arc distance is L. The grinding wheel was moving in this direction with NS. Because of the movement of NS, the grit tip, this particular tip, was having a linear velocity of Vs. So NS gives rise to Vs, where Vs is pi ds ns that we have written earlier, and the movement of the grinding wheel, movement of the workpiece is in this direction. So if I geometrically assume that this is not moving, in practice this is moving, but if I assume this is not moving, center of the cutter is moving from D to E. In practice, center of the cutter stays there, but if you assume that instead of giving this velocity, you are giving a rotational speed to the cutter as well as a linear speed by making it 0, then the center of the cutter is moving from D to E. Now the question is, what is this L by Vs? L is this distance, A to C. The grit is moving from A to C with a speed of Vs. So this distance, this is basically a time. How much is that time? Time required by the grit to move from A to C. During that period, the workpiece is moving in this direction. We have assumed that this velocity has been imparted here. So how much is dE? dE is nothing but L divided by Vs is the time into Vw. So what is this? This is basically this distance dE. And as you can understand, this dE is also equal to BC. Now, what is this BC? If your VW is large, your BC would be large. If your VS is small, your BC would be large. What is this BC? This shaded area, shading using a digital pen is tricky, but still I am trying, is the amount of material removed by a single grit. So someone can say that this shaded area is nothing but equivalent to chip load, amount of material which is being removed. It is not equal to, it is similar to, equivalent to. So as the shaded area increases, the chip load would increase, forces would increase. And from this particular logic, we would be able to say why Vs has to be more than Vc. We'll come back to that. Once again, someone is trying to enter, so let us allow him. I do not have much space, but still I will say, during grinding, this particular grit would be acted upon by two forces. One is Ft, sorry, how do you erase this? So one is Ft, another is Fn. Please note, I am not using capital Ft or capital Fn. These are total grinding forces. Instead, I am using Ft and Fn. These are same tangential and normal forces, but for a grit. So when I say forces will go up, these Ft and Fn, they will go up. When would it go up? When my chip load is more. When is my chip load more? When Vs is less. What happens when Vs is more? Chip load would be less, forces would be less. Why do you need to have forces to be less? Because your bonding is primarily resinoid and vitrified. One is a ceramic bond, one is a kind of arylite kind of or resinoid kind of bond. Bond strength is not very high. So a grit should not experience lot of force. Because of that reason, Vs has to be much more than Vc. If Vs is more, from this logic, if Vs is more, Vc is less, chip load is less, forces are less, even if you have less bonding strength, your grit will not come out of the grinding wheel. Otherwise, if the forces acting on the grit is too large, the two things may happen. Grit may undergo a damage or grit fracture, or grit may simply come out of the grinding wheel because of bond fracture. So because of this reason, Vs is more than Vc. This is one of the reasons. Now let us go to the next reason. That is the effect of rake angle. With the effect of rake angle also this can be explained. Zeta in the last class we have given as in case of grinding, gamma effective is minus 60 degree. So zeta grinding as compared to zeta machining. How do you compare that? In machining, your rake angle is hardly minus 6 degree to plus 6 degree, or one can say it is around 0. So zeta grinding would be definitely larger than zeta machining. If that happens, what is the problem? Problem is Pz is T into S into tau S times zeta by cos gamma O minus tan gamma O plus 1. So what do? Somehow you bring it down. So you choose a grinding wheel which is not minus 60. That is unfortunately not possible. Why it is not possible? Because the grits are irregular in shape and they pose a not so defined geometry, and statistically it has been seen the rake angle in grinding is primarily negative, and further the angle is 60 degree. Even if you want to make it 0 degree, you cannot do it because you do not have control on grid geometry. So you are stuck with rake angle. But you might say, fine, I have understood that in case of grinding, this is much more than this. But what it has got, how does it answer this question? So for that particular question, we need to go to the next slide. If you draw the variation of zeta, by the way, zeta is A2 by A1. This is primarily for MTech student. MTech student, you have possibly learned this expression as cutting ratio, which was A1 by A2, which was 1 upon zeta. We will use zeta instead of cutting ratio, but you can correlate. And here the variation would be something like this. More or less, this will follow this equation. Now this particular equation, this particular graph is for cutting velocity around 2 meter per second, which is 120 meter per minute. In grinding, how much is the cutting velocity? Roughly 30 to 50 meter per second, or even 200 meter per second, that we have explained in the last class. What happens when you increase grinding speed? What happens when you increase grinding speed? It has been seen as you increase grinding speed, as you increase this, zeta falls. So in the previous slide we have seen we cannot escape this situation. Why we cannot escape? Because this we cannot change. So how do you take care of that? You take care of that by enhancing Vs, by achieving this. If you achieve this, then zeta falls. How come zeta can fall? I am not going to explain that. But look at this equation and you would be able to decipher your own thing. As you are increasing Vs, you are not exactly changing the tool geometry. So something is happening. So try to find out what exactly is happening when cutting velocity is increased. This I have explained in my undergraduate class. I am not going to do it once again. So undergraduate students, if you go back to your class notes, you will be able to get the answer. MTech students, you have to work a bit hard and try to find out what is the reason. Mathematically, you will be able to get the reason very easily. That would not be easy, but physically what is happening, try to read some books and you will get the answer. So we have given two answers basically. Why Vs should be more than Vc? There are two answers. One is zeta oriented answer. Another one is chip load oriented answer. To reduce chip load, Vs has to be high. To reduce zeta, Vs has to be high. Both the physics have been explained. Now I have a problem. Who is present? Kailash. Kailash, what are you using to watch this? Are you using a laptop or are you using a mobile?
Sir, I'm in a PC, sir.
You are on a PC. So I do not have my mobile. It is getting charged. I do not have a wristwatch. So I cannot see what is the time. As per my PC, the time is 12:21. So when I reach 12:50, you just give me a reminder so that I can wind up the class peacefully by 1 o'clock. Okay, so that is your task.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So now let us go to the next slide. Next slide is trying to explain the second question. Second question is why grinding specific energy is so high. Earlier we have seen cutting specific energy is typically 0.5 to 5 joule per millimeter cube. We did solve a numerical problem and in that this came out to be 2.4. This might be wrong, but definitely in that particular range. Grinding specific energy we have not estimated, but we have solved a numerical problem where a data was given which was this. So definitely, as you can see, if you compare these two values, specific grinding energy is much larger. Now the question is, why is it larger? And can this be estimated using orthogonal machining? Try to understand how a grit looks like. A grit is irregular in shape. It has a stone chip like appearance. So if someone, this is a actual grit, if someone does a numerical approximation, a grit at best can be numerically approximated as a square base pyramid with an apex angle of 120 degree. Why this 120 degree? Because in grinding rake angle is minus 60 degree. So from this particular plane to this particular plane, if someone measures the apex angle, that would be 120 degree, and the grid would be moving in this direction with a velocity vs. Such a grid or such an actual grid, when it participates in the grinding process by microcutting action, it is further away from orthogonal machining. It is not at all orthogonal machining. It is definitely a complex oblique machining. But we would not go in that direction. We will try to see, can we use the concept of orthogonal machining with its drawbacks and everything in place and try to estimate grinding velocity. For doing that, we need a machine to conduct experiment, or we need equations. I am sitting at home, basically in my bedroom. You people are sitting in your house or maybe wherever you are having good connection. We do not have a machine with us. So what do? We use equation. So UC or UG, if we are trying to calculate grinding, we will say it is PZ into VC divided by material removal rate. Only thing is that these VC and material removal rate, they are to be representing grinding. So this would not be 1 meter per second or 2 meter per second. In grinding it is large, so VC should be as large as possible. We are simulating grinding operation by doing cutting. MRR has to be less. MRR in grinding is less. And how we are going to find out PZ? Once again the same formula. When this formula is valid? This formula is valid only when it is a ductile material. Most of the engineering metallic alloys are ductile, so there is no problem with that. This is good. And when it is orthogonal machining. This is unfortunately not true, but with the problem or assumptions, we understanding fully well that grinding being an oblique cutting operation, we are using orthogonal machining. Understanding the problems, we will still try to see whether we can estimate grinding velocity, grinding specific energy by cutting theory or orthogonal machining theory or not. Let us see whether we can do that using a numerical example. So what we have here is a disc shaped job. This is my grinding workpiece DW. This is rotating with NS. This is representing the chuck or the jaw. This is a very short one, so there is no tailstock support, and this is a broad nose cutting tool, and this cutting tool is moving in this direction with a feed of S. Here also it is shown as feed. So a guy thought, I do not have a grinding machine, I'll try to see why grinding specific energy is so high. So what he did, he took a lathe which can rotate at a high RPM. He took a disc shaped job and did some cutting. While doing cutting, however, he maintained certain things so that he can approach the basic requirement of grinding. What are those requirements? He somehow achieved Vs equal to 10 meter per second. So NW, you can understand, would be 10 into 60,000 divided by pi into 3000. So roughly these two zeros will cancel out. This will become 200. So this is NW is 2000 by pi. So roughly it is 600. One of you can calculate it and tell me what is the number. He knows that MRR has to be less. For MRR to be less, he reduced the feed as much as is possible. Typically in turning operation, feed is around 0.08, 0.12, 0.2 in that range. So whatever is the least feed available in the lathe, that he used. As far as the disc width is concerned, which is B he could not reduce less than 5 millimeter, and he conducted the experiment. While conducting the experiment, he prepared a cutting tool with a rake angle of minus 60 degree. So this is your clearance angle, maybe that was 5 degree, and this was the rake angle which was minus 60 degree. Why did he do minus 60 degree? Because he was trying to achieve grinding to a large extent. Unfortunately, we do not have the machine. So what we have to do is that we have to find out, we have to replace the machine by equation. So we have assumed that mu during that process was 0.8 and tau s, that is dynamic yield shear strength, was 800 MPa. So first thing you have to calculate is zeta. So please calculate that. Once you have calculated zeta, calculate Pz into Vc. This is the second thing that you have to calculate. Third thing that you have to calculate is MRR, which is Vc into S into T, and the fourth thing that you have to calculate is U, which is Pz into Vc divided by MRR. So what exactly we are doing? We are simulating grinding process by turning. We required a lathe, we don't have it. That guy had a lathe, so he did a high speed turning operation with bare minimum feed. He did not find out Pz by equation, he measured it, he knew what is his Vc, determined this one, determined MRR, and found out how much is the value of U. We don't have the machine, so we are taking help of the equation. So there are 5 things you have to calculate, 1, 2, 3, 4, and some time back I asked you to calculate this guy. So this is your 0th one. So please calculate and tell me. So Pz would be Ts tau s into zeta divided by cos gamma O minus tan gamma O plus 1. So Pz into Vc would be into Vc. So that will plug in here. So can I have NW? Anyone?
636.9.
636. 636.9. So 637 RPM. Okay. So 637 RPM is very much achievable in a lathe. He could have even gone for 20 meter per second, but he thought, okay, I would not go beyond 700 RPM. So 637 is a very much achievable RPM. And 300 millimeter, how much is it? 300 millimeter is roughly 12 inches. I do not know whether you people can still relate to inches or not. My generation can still relate to inches when it is more or less within 20 inches or so. So if you cannot relate, doesn't matter. If you can see my hands, this is around 12 inches. This distance, I do not know what it is called in your language. From your tip of your thumb to the little finger is roughly 200 millimeter. Those who are of large build, much more taller, for them it might be 225. So it is, where is it? It is 12 inches. So roughly this much diameter. Okay. So now Pz zeta value, how much is the zeta value? Anyone? It would be a shame if I have to take out my calculator and calculate it. So it would be much better if you people can do it.
8.12.
Who said that it is 8.12? Can I have your name, please?
Ritesh.
Ritesh is very prompt with calculators.
Sir,
Can anyone?
about 2.7.
one by one. Zeta is 8.12. Can any one of you reconfirm? It was Ritesh. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Can you reconfirm?
So this is Ankit. I
Yes,
also
sir,
got
it
in
is.
8.12.
Ankit?
Yes, sir. 8.12, sir.
Fine. So if it has been done separately, sitting miles apart, so it would be 8.12. Somebody was talking about PZ into VC. So how much is it? Yes. Can anyone tell me how much is PZ? How much is PZ into VC? Let us have a wrong number. What is there? You give me a wrong value, doesn't matter. Someone will correct it. Hello? Anyone? I have got a number, but I am not convinced. So I would like to get some support from you.
Greater than 101.5.
Which one? Which one?
PZ.
PZ is how much?
3101.5898.
T1 0 31 0
01
1
1 point.
another one.
No. 3101.5898.
Forget it, 5.8. So this much Newton.
Okay.
Are you
Yes,
saying that? Achha, I am not getting
Yes,
this
sir.
number. So who was it?
So Jadhav Girish.
Jadhav
And
Girish. I am
someone
not
else
getting
also
this.
got same number.
Sorry?
Someone else also got same thing.
Okay. So what I'll do is that this gamma 0 is minus. Have you seen that?
Yes, sir. I
So-
took minus also.
Minus.
Minus
So
also.
this will become plus. Have you checked that?
Yes, sir.
So how much can you recheck how much is the quantity within this second bracket?
Second bracket, it was 1 second.
Please. Anybody else can also participate, please.
Sir,
Please, Muralidhar, please wait. Let us get this. Muralidhar, do you have some other value?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. The bracket thing was 18.97.
Which one?
Bracket into bracket thing.
How much is it?
18.97.
18.97. Okay. So 18.97 into, let me do it, into T is 5. S is 0.005 and this is 800.
Yes, sir. Now I am getting 3794.
379.4.
No, 3794.4.
No, your feed is 00. Muralidhar, how much have you got this number?
yes, sir. I am also getting same. Sir.
3794. Is it Newton or what?
Newton.
No, I am getting this as what? Okay, so let us bring out calculator. Okay, so what I am doing is that, please look here, all of you. T is 5 into 0.005 into 800 MPa is nothing but 800 Newton per millimeter square. So 5 into 0.005 is millimeter square, they cancel out. Into 18.79. So that comes out to be 379. We have done lot of, or it was not 18.7997. So it is 379.4 and you are multiplying it by 10. So this number is coming out.
Yes, sir.
Can anybody else confirm that my calculation is correct?
Sir, I am getting 3594, sir.
3594, 3794, you are making a small mistake. That is not a great deal. I think you are making a small mistake, but more or less 3594 for power or PZ?
Sir, for PZVZ, sir.
PZ into VC. So whole thing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Sir, I also got 3794.
Who is it?
So for me,
No, just a minute. One at a
small
time.
thing.
Who was the last guy who spoke to me?
Shantanu.
Sorry?
Shantanu.
Shantanu, you got 3794 as the power. What?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else who has got 3794? I think
I also got, sir,
fine. So let us stop here. 3794 business. I think this is your PZ into VC. Now, how much is material removal rate? Material removal rate is 0.005. This is in millimeter. 5 is in millimeter. And 10 meter per second is nothing but 10,000 millimeter per second. So that becomes how much?
250.
250 millimeter cube per second. So let me go to this mode. Now I have UC as 3794 joule per second. What is nothing but joule per second by 250 millimeter cube per second. This is my U, which happens to be
15.17.
15.1.
176.
Forget it, 15.1. So, now let us go to the next slide. We have done a calculation which was 35 joule per millimeter cube with lot of assumptions using orthogonal machining theory. We got a U which is 15 joule per millimeter cube. Everything is here. Video is getting recorded. Let me see whether I have kept video recording on or not. Yes, it is getting recorded. So you can always come back and revisit this. So there is unfortunately something missing. What is missing? 20 joule per millimeter cube is missing. That means in grinding there are different phenomena which consume energy. We will call them as energy consumers. This 15 joule per millimeter cube is one of them. What is this energy consumer? This is the phenomena of micro cutting, which leads to chip formation. So chip formation in grinding takes place, that we have explained, and that is taking some energy which is around 15 joule per millimeter cube. So there must be some unexplained phenomena which are present but we have not discussed. There are two of them, there are several of them, but we will discuss only two of them. One is ploughing, another one is primary rubbing. So we have primary school, secondary school, higher secondary school. So whenever there is something called primary rubbing, Possibly there is something called secondary rubbing as well, but those we will not cover. Those we will not cover in the class, in the whole course at all. But there is something called ploughing which I have not explained. There is something which is called primary rubbing which I have not explained. These consumes energy which have not been accounted for, and these are to be, this will account for this missing 20 joule per millimeter cube. This 20 joule per millimeter cube is not a sacrosanct number. This is what I am trying to say is that UC is large. We have shown chip formation in grinding also takes a lot of energy, but these two are not matching exactly. So this missing link is possibly this ploughing and primary rubbing. What is ploughing and primary rubbing? That we will try to explain now. This graph we have already shown, this photograph, this schematic we have shown. This is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, this one is E. In this is A, this is B, this is C. We have told you earlier the grit is supposed to move along this. Why it is supposed to move along this? Because the grit is rotating in this direction with NS and the workpiece is moving in this direction with VW. The combination of these two will not allow the grit to move along AB, rather it will move along AC. Now I'll jump to our kitchen. It is almost, I do not know what is the time, so I'll go to the kitchen. Not physically, but metaphorically we will go to the kitchen. So I'll ask you some questions, and for that I would not be able to see your, because we have low. Okay, so I would request everyone to participate, those who would like to. So when is the last time someone has gone to the kitchen? Muralidharan, when is the last time you have gone to the kitchen? This is lockdown time. You must be helping your family.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir means when was the last time?
Yesterday,
Yesterday. Great. What did you prepare?
I helped in cutting onions.
Oh, that's great. So I am into machining. We are into grinding. In grinding, chip removal takes place by micro cutting. Unfortunately, onion is not my favorite vegetable as far as grinding theory of abrasive machining is concerned. My favorite vegetable for theory of abrasive machining is tomatoes. Tomatoes, I do not know what is the price in your part of the country. In Kharagpur, it is rather expensive. It is almost 100 rupees per kilo, but still I will take tomato. Now, if you are given an unripe tomato, which is not red, which is yellowish or even to some extent greenish, and a very ripe tomato, and your parents have asked you to cut slices of tomato so that you can enjoy green salad in today's lunch. Which one is more difficult to cut? Green tomatoes or ripened tomatoes? Ripened one is easy to cut?
Yes.
Harsh, let us get something from Harsh. Harsh, which one is easy to cut?
The red, easy to cut the green one.
Green ones. If you want to cut ripen into thin slices, what would happen?
It won't be easy to cut into thin slices because it is kind of soft.
It is kind of soft. Fine. So this is one thing you need to understand. Next thing that you need to understand is sharpness of your cutter. Most of you would not be using the traditional cutter that is used in an Indian kitchen. You would be using a knife. So you purchase a knife, it would be very, very sharp. You use it for 6 months, it will become dull. So with a sharp knife, is it easy to cut, or is with a dull knife, is it easy to cut?
With sharp knife, sir.
With sharp knife. Who was it? Ritesh, fine.
This is Durga.
Okay, fine. So some of you are responding. You are all responding correctly. So when you try to cut a ripened tomato with not so sharp knife, not a dull one, not so sharp knife, what would happen? Please think logically and answer in as much detail as possible. Any one of you, please take the cue and answer. Ritesh, okay, Ritesh, fine, go ahead. You want to cut a ripened tomato with a dull knife. What is going to happen? You will not be able to cut. That I have understood. You will face a lot of problem. People will tease you that you cannot even slice a tomato. Those things are understood. But what are you going to observe? When you try to cut, would the tomato deform?
So instead of cutting, a knife will push the tomato.
It will push the tomato. That means if the tomato is highly ripened and if you have a dull knife, instead of penetrating, the cutter means the knife has to penetrate, then only it would be able to cut it. It will not be able to penetrate so much. So you have to apply more force and then only it will penetrate. And if it is highly ripened, the whole thing will crush. It will never penetrate. So what I am trying to come at is that if you have a dull cutter, forget about ripened and unripened. If you have a dull cutter, you have to apply more force when the cutter penetrates. If you have a dull knife, you have to apply more force when you try to penetrate. Another day-to-day example. In our class, we are all males. As you can see, I am not a good adult. I have not shaved. You people might have shaved, might not have shaved. So if you are using a blade to shave and that blade is a new one, the effort required, force required to shave is much less. You would have less irritation. If you use a blade for certain weeks or certain days, number of days, certain number of shaves, after that it will become blunt or dull. You would require more force. So what I am trying to come at is this.
Sir, it's almost 12:50. Sir.
Okay, thank you so much. We still have 7-8 minutes time. So I'll simply try to give a background. Okay, so this cannot be erased. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is very simple thing. The grit, what happened? Abrasive grit, if it is sharp, it penetrates easily. If it is dull, it requires more force and then it penetrates. When it penetrates, what happens? The local failure of the work material takes place. So, a dull grit is somewhere over here. It should have been, this is F. It should have been at F1, F prime, but instead of that it is at F, because of which it is imparting some force Fn in this particular direction. Because of this Fn force, there is a local normal stress. When this normal stress is equal to or more than the flow strength of the material, then only penetration will take place. Fn, on the other hand, is a function of F minus F prime. If your grit is very sharp, for the same value of Fn, sigma n would be larger and it would be able to penetrate easily. Now you might say, what do you mean by more sharp and more dull? That thing I will not explain today because we do not have time. we will explain in the next class. But at least you have understood that there is something called primary rubbing. Because of primary rubbing, what we have assumed that grit will automatically start moving from A to C is not correct. What exactly is happened? Grit should have moved along A to C because of combination of VW and NS, but instead initially it moves along this, it reaches this particular point EFG, and then it penetrates from G to G prime. Why can it not penetrate from A to G? It cannot penetrate because this equation or this inequality is not satisfied. This gets satisfied here. Why? Because gradually G prime is increasing, Fn is increasing, sigma n is increasing, and at a particular point of time sigma n is more than flow strength of the work material. There it penetrates. So from A to G no chip formation takes place, but energy gets consumed. So this phenomena is called primary rubbing. So during primary rubbing, when a grit undertakes the microcutting action, it should immediately start microchip formation. That does not happen because of primary rubbing. So this is another energy consumer, which is not only energy consumer. This guy is not a good guy. He is consuming energy. He is taking your money, but he is not giving you any service. It consumes energy, but no material removal rate. I'll stop here today and only I'll go to the next slide. Just a minute. We have 5 minutes time. So what have we discussed today? We have not discussed type of chips, but mechanism of chip formation we have started discussing. We have already discussed shearing. We have even estimated this shearing. The estimate that came out to be 15 joule per millimeter cube. We have mentioned rubbing and ploughing. We have not discussed ploughing. Rubbing or primary rubbing we have discussed, and rest of the stuff we have not discussed. There are other source of energy consumers that we will discuss in other modules. Say when we are discussing wheel loading, we will be discussing that. When we will discuss wheel wear, we will be discussing that. They will not come here. Grinding force, specific energy, these things we have not discussed to that extent, but at least we have gone into module 2, though I am calling it as lecture 1.8. So we have gradually gone into 2. So next lecture would be 2.1, and in 2.1 we will talk about a bit more about primary rubbing, ploughing, and then gradually we will try to cover the rest of the stuff, which once again we will be meeting on Saturday. So very good. Thank you for your time. Let me take the attendance. Achha. What I can see, I think all of you can see the Excel sheet. So one by one, please respond. Vinit Malik.
Present, sir.
Vinit, your attendance is not good, though you have registered late, but you have to keep it up. You should not lose classes. Shiva Shankar. Are bhai, you can see your name. Why don't you respond? Kailash Raja.
Yes, sir.
Harsh.
Yes, sir.
Please start attending classes regularly, Harsh. Arpit Patel.
Yes, sir, sure.
Arpit
Yes,
Patel,
sir.
same goes for you. You are also missing classes quite often. Shantanu.
Present, sir.
Ashok More.
Yes, sir.
Ankit.
Present, sir.
Mala. Sorry, not Muralidhar. Sorry, Anup Kumar Singh. Anup Kumar Singh. Muralidhar.
Present, sir.
I have a load shedding, so it can switch off anytime. Muralidhar, are you present? Hello.
Sir.
Muralidhar, are you present? Acha. What you do is
Sir,
that
yes, sir.
I do not have power, so I am not able to hear you. So you unmute, I would be able to see. So Muralidhar is present. Ritesh. Ritesh?
Yes, sir, present.
Yes, I have taken your attendance.
Yes, sir, present.
Acha, then Girish? Girish, are you there?
Present, sir.
Yes. Next one is Gajanan.
Present, sir.
Gajanan, are you there?
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Okay, fine. Durganand? Durganand, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I am.
Rohitas? Rohitas? Punia or whatever.
Yes.
He was there. I have seen him. Acha, Sarjil, please unmute yourself and speak. I would be able to see the icon. Yeah. Rohitas, once again, I am calling your name. Was he not there some time back? Okay. Thank you so much. We'll meet once again on Saturday.